YouTubers who abuse built-in support systems to silence creators who are critical of them are the worst of the worst.
Are the worst of the worst, guys. Does he keep that energy? I can't prove that, guys. But it certainly seems like the most likely explanation. DeOrio swept for DMCA abuse. He's so dumb, bro. And this fat, lying knew. He knew, and he covered it up.
The goal was always to find a way to become the #1 Ethan Klein ball washer.
The DeOrio segment. Let's take a look, guys. Let's see. What does Kilo have to say about DeOrio?
Hassan Piker is a genuine douchebag, extremely unintelligent, probably as politically illiterate as me on most things, and I literally know nothing. I'm a complete normie who doesn't care about politics.
Nicholas DeOrio is the owner of a pair of mid-sized commentary YouTube channels. His following is somewhere around 150,000 people, and he's known for covering new online dramas and his Ultimate Review segment.
I'm the host of Ultimate Review.
Nick has been involved in the commentary genre for almost—
Dude, DeOrio fans actually lose it if you even mention Ultimate Review. It's so crazy, man. He's like trained them into thinking that like Ultimate Review didn't happen or something. If anyone even brings up Review, they're like, "Well, I can't believe they're bringing up Review." So
almost a decade. He's been closely associated with figures like Tommy C, Turkey Tom, Willie Mac, and other longtime contributors to online drama coverage. He's not the biggest—
Yeah, sorry, let's make this totally comprehensive, because, you know, we know that DeOrio and DeOrio fans like pretending that Review isn't exactly what it sounds like. So let's make this totally comprehensive. Let's get this in here. I feel like this is important. This is part of the story here, really, isn't it?
So, review. A lot of people use this term now, and it's pretty much what it sounds like. People in commentary reviewing allegations. The earliest instance that I could actually find of this term being used is Vosh talking about how DGG have coined this term.
Yeah, so Destiny's been doing this. It's sort of crassly being referred to as the review, where he goes over allegations. This was for the Method Josh, the Twitch.
Review was coined because he would review the allegation. And although it originated with DGG, this guy, Chud Logic, pretty much yoinked it and popularized the term.
With the Sean Head drama, we covered the phase review, as my community call it. There was that guy, Mew, got accused of some allegations, so we looked at that and talked about that.
Chud started doing some really good numbers reviewing allegations with his review segments. And soon, many drama content creators decided to copy the format. The person who I think saw the most popularity out of reviewing rape allegations was Nicholas DeOrio.
Dude, I would love to do a review at Chud Logic where we just like live react to like
Thank you.
By the way, guys, we're probably going to do an Ultimate Review, if not this weekend, maybe early next week, because we haven't done Savannah yet. And I know it's kind of a dead topic for everybody, but I'm going to talk about Savannah because I'm malicious, okay? Yesterday I had people over and they were asking about what I do for a living, and I told them that I do IT and Ultimate Review, and there is no in-between, chat.
To, you know, my content to be known more, but I don't want it to become more well-known because I was assaulted.
This is like EFAP for rape connoisseurs,
Dude,
isn't
it's EFAP for rape connoisseurs. That's exactly what it is.
But this is where the rewriting of history starts.
There was one time where somebody Googled and read off my Wikipedia. They're like, he hosts the show Ultimate Rape Review. And I go, listen, okay, I can try to explain this to you. I'm not going to. I swear to God, it's not what it sounds like.
It's exactly what it sounds like. Yeah. There are now these newcomer channels that I don't think it's right to judge. But they're claiming that Ultimate Rape Review is a satirical name for a show, and Nicholas DeOrio does not review rapes.
You don't have any valid reason to criticize Hassan. Then he characterizes these detractors as being rape reviewers when they're not. And hold on, we'll get there. If you know, you know, we'll get there. So, of course, Nicholas DeOrio does not do fucking rape reviews in the literal sense. He uses that word in a very internet speak manner, but I'm not surprised that people would hear about it and assume the worst.
No, he doesn't use it to mean sexual assault. No, he uses rape to mean sexual assault, actually.
After watching some of Nicholas DeOrio's VODs over the past few months, I recognize that Ultimate Rape Review is a satirical name, and the segment highlights how YouTube drama consistently turns other people's trauma into content.
This is a factual inaccuracy. If you ever want to make a claim like this, just load up Filmot first, search a couple terms, and see what you can find. It's alright to get stuff wrong, but to Princess Mantis and That's Okay T, I think it would be good to make a little retraction in whatever your next video is. Just say, I made this claim about Nicholas DeOrio, and I was wrong. It turns out Nicholas DeOrio loves rape. And just a year or two ago, he used to love to review rape allegations on his show Ultimate Rape Review.
Oh, I noticed this low-life disabled woman says, oh, hey, me, no rebuttal and no retraction. Interesting. Sonic not pressing her because she's a disabled woman. I think we all know what's going on there. Anyway, back to Kilo's video here.
Name, but he is well established, and he's seen as somebody with credibility in these circles. And part of that is because historically, Nick has always positioned himself as being somebody with principles. He was always one of the most outspoken creators about things like targeting sponsors.
Attacking YouTube sponsors is generally like a negative thing to do. Attacking sponsors, doxing, like there's a handbook of things like you just can't do. I'm not a supporter of targeting anyone's revenue. I think it can damage the entire landscape.
Or abusing copyright.
There's also the issue regarding rapid copyright abuse on the platform that YouTube has done nothing about. Chris has been ban-evading and breaking TOS through multiple false copyright strikes. YouTubers who abuse built-in support systems to silence creators who are critical of them are the worst of the worst.
And defending free speech.
The worst of the worst, he says, guys. The worst. YouTubers who use the DMCA system to silence their critics are the worst of the worst, guys. Does he keep that energy?
Jeff Holiday? Apparently Jeff takes a holiday from free speech. He locked replies and attempted to silence criticism. I have no fucking problem with anybody being a leftist, as long as you don't try to infringe upon my free speech.
So because of that outspokenness and his proximity to other large creators, Nick was always a somewhat prominent voice, helping enforce the core standards for his corner of the internet. However, recently, Nicholas has pivoted to covering almost exclusively Ethan Klein and his enemies, or to put it more specifically, sucking Ethan Klein's balls for 25 hours a week.
What I think Ethan should do is he should use the GoFundMe money from the lawsuits to buy all of these things. I think he should take all that money and then buy Anissa's house. If everybody can see that what Ethan is doing is so fucked up, then why are you guys getting so much hate? Ladies and gentlemen, Ethan Klein has confirmed that his motion to subpoena Reddit and Discord was granted. Ooh.
His relentless positive coverage eventually got him noticed by the Kleins themselves.
I love Nicholas DeOrio. I'll say it. I've been watching your content. I think you're a very funny guy.
And I feel like your coverage has been really good on topics that I end up watching. Like you're good with research.
He's seen consistent growth in subscribers, likely from H3 viewers, ever since he shifted his focus. And as a result, Nick has been cemented as Ethan Klein's #1 lieutenant, his top guy.
True.
He is one of the largest pro-Ethan, anti-Hassan mouthpieces on YouTube. And while I'm never one to begrudge somebody making some money, today what we are interested in is what he's had to sacrifice to get it. Nick has become somewhat representative of what it means to be afflicted with the Hassan bad virus. Unlike some of the other subjects of this video, Nick is in fact not some kind of rapist or pedophile, at least not that I'm aware of. But he is every bit as dishonest as the rest of these guys, and in a lot of ways, he's worse. You see, Nick has spent the last several years carefully fine-tuning.
So, okay. So, right. So some DeOrio speds are freaking out over this line.
I'm somewhat representative of
this is legit. This is being used to dismiss the entire video, by the way.
Interested in is what he's had to sacrifice to get it. Nick has become somewhat representative of what it means to be afflicted with the Hassan bad virus. Unlike some of the other subjects of this video, Nick is in fact not some kind of rapist or pedophile, at least not that I'm aware of. But he is every bit as dishonest as the rest of these guys, and in a lot of ways, he's worse.
So every bit as dishonest, and in a lot of ways, worse. Not in every way. He's not saying more dishonest necessarily. He's saying as dishonest, and in some ways worse. But, yeah, that's Kilo's interpretation. That's not really substantive to the allegations in the video. That's a subjective assessment of who you see as worse and better. It's not very substantive to any of the arguments in the video, is it?
You see, Nick has spent the last several years carefully fine-tuning a perfect system for lying. A system where he can be as dishonest as he needs to be, use it to his benefit, and avoid almost any consequences.
Very true.
It's a process that, if followed to a T, can lead to massive profit at the cost of your dignity, an exchange that Nick happens to be perfectly happy with.
Now, unfortunately for Nick, he has slipped up in a few places. Unfortunately, Nick has made some unwise decisions in the course of this. We'll be talking about a few of those.
So let's walk through, step by step, exactly how Nicholas DeOrio deceives his audience, protects his income, and lies directly to your face.
I can't wait to disagree with Ethan Klein again, because I know that he's principled and he actually gives a fuck about what he's saying.
This is the Nicky D system. A story breaks. It's a story that on its face doesn't look very good for Ethan Klein. Ethan is accused of falsely copyright striking numerous clips on the H3 Snark subreddit. At best, Ethan is striking clips that he doesn't have great reason to, and at worst, he's trying to flood the subreddit with copyright notices to try to trigger an automatic ban. Nicholas DeOrio has been covering all things Ethan Klein and even Snark for months, so he definitely sees things like this when they pop up, and we do know that he is specifically aware of this story.
I mean, he has copyright struck a literal subreddit. I wouldn't put it past him at all. What the fuck, dude?
But Nick also knows that—
Oh, wow. No need to investigate that. Wow, someone's saying that Ethan Klein was copyright striking Snark. No need to investigate that. No need to investigate those claims. Sure, people who abuse DMCA are the worst of the worst. But why would you ever need to investigate a claim like this when you're covering Ethan? Who cares, man? Who cares?
that this story is a problem, because if he covers it honestly, it might involve criticizing Ethan. And if he criticizes Ethan, he could be risking—
Now you might be able to write that off though, right? You know, he just saw a Reddit comment, you know? Or Nick he just saw a Reddit comment, it said it, no substantiation. It can be written off as quick as it's seen. So who can really blame him? Who can really blame him?
His new association with H3. So Nick considers his options and decides that the best course of action is step 1. Neglect. Simply neglect to cover stories that are unfavorable to Ethan Klein. If you don't talk about it, you don't have to take a position on it. And if you don't take a position on it, nobody can hold you accountable for having the wrong one. Sure, people might expect you to have strong opinions about somebody abusing DMCA.
YouTubers who abuse built-in support systems, multiple false copyright strikes, the issue regarding rapid copyright abuse on the platform.
But that's their problem. Nobody controls your content. You don't have to cover anything.
And people are like, well, Nick, if you go by your principles, you defend these people. My principles don't say I ever have to cover anything on YouTube. They just say that's my principle. I can just go, yeah, dude, I think that this lawsuit is kind of dumb, and then cover something else that day if that's how I really feel. I don't have to defend you. I'm not going to.
See? You can keep talking about Hassan and Snark and H3. You just skip the parts that make Ethan look bad. And that is Nick's preferred way of navigating anything that paints Ethan in a negative light. It's clean.
Very
it's
true.
Safe. Remember when Ethan used Michaela Rain's warm body as a prop for his anti-Snark campaign? Nick, to this day, has never fully covered that story.
So, and you'll remember, there was a big fuss about this. Alex Gekmo, obviously, huge Nicholas DeOrio dick rider for many years. People saying, huge Nicholas DeOrio dick rider is one of the top RFC fans. Set a standard. The day all this was going down, he had a Twitter space, and he set a standard. He said, I expect Nick to cover this properly tonight, to actually call out Ethan like he did with the Etika stuff. Otherwise, I'm done. I'm done. This is too far for me. The Ethan sweeping's got too far. And lo and behold, what fucking happened? Nick neglects to cover it. Curious. Most curious.
Despite indicating in passing that he disagreed with what Ethan did.
Sava Fox killed herself from on a Snark sub. It is crazy, and yet
yeah, the same guy that Nick referred to as the commentary reaper, Nick always used to call this guy. He said, if you get in beef with Alex Gekmo, it's only a matter of time until you're outed and you have your locale downfall. That's what he always used to say. That's what DeOrio always used to say about this guy.
I completely disagree with this.
Reddit does nothing.
And that was it. He avoided ever saying anything about Ethan directly, which is also what he did with the DMCA story for months. But avoidance kind of has a shelf life. You can't just do it forever. Eventually, something will come up on stream that you can't just look away from. And when that happens, Nick proceeds to step 2. Ignorance. Nick is streaming. He's covering Ethan, or iDubbbz, and probably making some kind of a penis joke.
When he said discipline, for some reason I thought he was gonna be like my dick. It sounds like they're talking about like their fucking cock, which is iconically the size of iDubbbz' penis. This guy's trying to suck his own dick. Get on your knees and suck dick. Cradle their balls, cluck my own cock. Suck my cock. Penis. 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 Penis.
Jesus. Anyway, something pops up on screen, something Nick has been trying to avoid, but he's already been doing that for quite a while. He can't make it obvious that he's been hiding from a story, but thankfully he still doesn't really need to say anything bad about Ethan. Not yet. He can simply choose to remain ignorant about the topic. Easy. You haven't looked into it. You don't know enough yet. You're still waiting on more information. Let's go to July of last year. Nick is reacting to this video by Paige Christie about Ethan's war on H3 Snark.
Oh, right.
Note that this is 7 months after the DMCA story originally became public.
Right. So that's in July of last year, we're saying. But when's this video from? But this video's from January of 2025. That's curious, isn't it, guys? Now, why would Nick, apropos of nothing, just remember, oh, yeah, I've got a video that maybe I should respond to from 6 months ago. That's it. That seems a bit strange, doesn't it, guys? That seems a little bit strange. And you may be mistaken. You know, you may be easily mistaken as a Nicholas DeOrio fan. You may believe that Nick DeOrio just decided to go and cover this critical video of him that was released 6 months ago. Because yeah, he just wants to take accountability. He wants to make sure that he's responded to all criticism, right? That's what you may think if you're an uncritical DeOrio fan. Now, does that seem particularly likely, guys? I don't personally think, even alone, that sounds particularly likely that he just randomly remembered this video. Now, Nicholas DeOrio streamed about it on the 7th of July. Okay, he streamed it on the 7th of July, 2025. Here you'll see me on the 7th of July, 2025, earlier in the day, saying to Aiden, by the way, give it at least 5 days before you're on to DeOrio to confront him with those points from earlier. Aiden replies, okay, do you have something planned? Then, DeOrio's segment gets posted a few days later. Did you rat out that Paige Christie stuff? So just to make it clear, that's what's being referred to here. Why am I seeing Big Nick covering it in his latest video? How much did you share? Hold up, I'm streaming. I don't think I shared anything, but if I did, it was probably an in-passing comment when he asked me what the problem with his coverage was. Also did not know that was private. So Aiden seems to deny it there. Yeah, later in the conversation he says, but with the Paige stuff, I maybe made an in-passing comment, which was a mistake. I'll be more careful. And I spoke to Aiden just earlier today, guys. I spoke to Aiden just earlier today. And Aiden told me he is almost certain he spoke to Nick about the Paige Christie stuff at this time. So I can't prove that Nicholas DeOrio only simply heard about it from Aiden. This was a criticism that I may be making and desperately attempted to get in front of it because he knew there was fire coming his way and there was a loose end he wanted to try and tie up. I can't prove that, guys, but it certainly seems like the most likely explanation. It certainly seems like the most likely explanation here. Let me see if I can just grab... So Aiden said he's totally fine for me to reaffirm that this happened. You know, I'm not leaking this without any permission or anything, you know. So this is from today. Yeah, I'm rereading the convo. I'm almost certain I brought this up to Nick, especially since I now remember you laying out the specific argument out in a call with J-Stalk, which would have made me confident in arguing it to him direct, since I didn't think it was private. I'd say that publicly. So, like I say, guys, I can't prove that the only reason Nicholas DeOrio covered this Paige Christie video 6-7 months after it was released because of me putting pressure on him via Aiden. I can't prove that, but it certainly does seem like the most reasonable explanation. Now, what was Nick running from in this video, guys? What was Nick running from in this video? And how did he try and respond to it? Because you'd think, right? You'd think Nick gets tipped off that there's going to be a big criticism coming his way about the way he's handled this DMCA issue. You'd think, get up on stream and just say it was wrong. Just say Ethan was wrong, right? You'd think that you could diffuse it so quick. People are about to come after you for something, and you've got the opportunity to just take the wind out of the sails. That's what you think he would do. That's what you think he would do, right? You would hope.
Snark. Note that this is 7 months after the DMCA story originally became public. Here, Nick summarizes his coverage of the situation to this point.
But the rumor was he was striking people who were doing market replacement type content where it's like intentionally pushing views away from original content. So that was all that I'd said, was if that's the case, that's probably like fine. And again, I was waiting for a formal video to break this down, or I was waiting for Ethan to announce a lawsuit. We mentioned this like fucking multiple times. I was waiting to see what would actually get taken down.
Okay, but the problem here is that this was a breakdown video. The breakdown video is on screen right now. The documentation from Ethan's own attorneys is publicly available in that video, along with some examples of what was getting struck. But does Nick take the few minutes he would need to learn about that information? No. In fact, he never even reacted to this video. He only pulled up this small snippet while covering a completely different topic, and Nick made sure the whole time to performatively remind his viewers how little he wanted to watch Paige's video.
I hope they all find employment soon.
So yeah, let's just go over to Paige Christie's video real quick. So what is Nick dodging here? Let's take a look. What happens here, guys?
People have noticed that AB, one of the members of the H3H3 podcast, was in Nicholas DeOrio's DMs. Other members of the H3 Snark Reddit had also noticed that my name was there too. And that started the whole, we don't like Paige, she supports yada yada yada. Now, I have had a parasocial love-hate relationship with Nicholas DeOrio for quite some time. I respect him as a content creator. I think he's fucking fantastic at what he does, even if I don't agree with him. However, as a person, I find him insufferable, as he does with me. He doesn't like me either. However, I would say that there was a morsel amount of mutual respect. I stay in my corner, you stay in yours, and we're good. However, when I found out the update of the H3H3 Snark Reddit, as well as the lawsuits and legal documents and all of that kind of stuff, I reached out to Nicholas DeOrio to let him know about it. As you can see on the screen, this is exactly what I said to Nicholas DeOrio.
So let's read this. Hey DeOrio, just leaving you a tip. Ethan Klein has been abusing the copyright system despite his history of fighting for fair use. And so this is the post that we just read that lays out the exact durations of the clips and what was struck and when. If he's striking down posts that are here, watch this mirror, and don't give Ethan views, then that's based on best practices, says Nick. Paige says, no he's not. I'd say that would be fair also, but that's not what he's doing. We're talking clips that are 20 seconds or 1 minute, not exactly intended to rip off a 3-hour plus podcast. Clear as day, Paige Christie tells him this in January of 2025. That's before the content ute comes out. That's before CPS is called. That's before lawsuits are issued. That's before fucking all of it. And he sits there, he knows about it, and he sweeps the whole fucking time regardless. For someone he knows is a DMCA abuser. He has been handed the information on a silver platter straight to his DMs, engaged with it, had the Reddit post right there. He knows. And if he doesn't know, it's deliberate. It's deliberate because he has deliberately avoided clicking that link because he never wants to even consider engaging with criticism of it because he knows what position he's going to take anyway. So he wants to try and feign ignorance at every point. He wants to be as ignorant as possible at every point. It's clear as day. DeOrio swept for DMCA abuse. Ethan Klein filed false DMCA strikes, and Nicholas DeOrio knowingly swept for it, knowingly covered it up, knowingly did not cover it. Deliberately. Clear as day. There's no way around it. And then when it did, and then watch his segment. We'll watch his segment replying to this. And keep in mind the whole time that the likely explanation from covering this is that he's been prompted to. That he's been prompted to by Aiden. Let's keep watching his Paige Christie video for a moment.
Now, I did this because whilst Nicholas DeOrio will suck the literal skin off Ethan Klein's phallic object, I do believe that Nicholas DeOrio is a man of his word, and he understands that fair is fair. And he is more than willing to call out friends, which I've seen numerous times over his career on YouTube, for the good of what is right. I literally saw this boy disown his very good friend, John Swan, over lies it is that he told that reflected bad on the commentary community.
I have to put a bullet in every single one of my friends' heads. I'm going to be doing a lot of that this week, I fear.
Nicholas DeOrio went out of his way to make a stance and say, this is fucked up and I don't stand by it. Now, I did also think to myself that maybe Nicholas DeOrio just simply doesn't care about
Line the box segment coming up soon,
copyright
guys.
infringements and false copyright claims.
Okay, back to Killer's video.
Paige Christie. You escaped being a segment a couple of months ago, Paige Christie. Did you make a snark defense video that we never actually got around to watch? This one.
Incline.
I got 2 seconds. You can tell.
So yeah. So watch how he brings this up, guys. Watch how he brings this up.
Someone to ICE. People reporting people to an authoritarian group so they can be taken away gives World War II camp vibes. For the record, it is illegal to falsely report someone to ICE. It's a crime. I can't imagine disliking a stranger on the internet so much that you report them to the Gestapo. Using fascism as a weapon against YouTubers. I guess calling ICE is the new swatting. We are right at fucking dawn. I can't imagine the tickets are selling that well. Holy fuck, dude. That's funny. Let me see what else here. It's like when people used to frame people they didn't like as witches. Yeah, it's exactly like that. I hope they all find employment soon. Paige Christie. Paige Christie. You escaped being a segment a couple of months ago, Paige Christie.
Escaped being a segment. What's in her video? Undeniable proof that Nicholas DeOrio was informed that Ethan Klein was committing DMCA abuse and that he swept anyway. You narrowly escaped it, Paige. You narrowly escaped it. Oh, Paige, you almost got totally owned by me, Nick. Now, keep in mind, guys, here's what you'll notice as well. You remember how Nux Taku, when confronted with potentially career-ending allegations, how did he respond? He buried his response, his deflection, deep into a 50-minute Hassan Bad video. Right? We all remember that? We all remember how Nux Taku did that? Well, Nicholas DeOrio here has buried his response to Paige Christie 45 minutes into an Adam McIntyre Bad video. Guys, his response to the undeniable, clear as day proof that he swept for DMCA abuse is buried 45 minutes into his fucking Adam McIntyre video, guys.
I feel like I remember what that was about. Did
she
it have
escape,
something
guys?
to do with your snark defense video? Did you make a snark defense video that we never actually got around to watch? Paige Christie. Yeah, those unemployed snark people are the worst. Did you ever make a video? This one.
Incline.
I got 2 seconds. You can tell I got 2 seconds into it. Let's see. What are we saying here? Let me see. Let's take a look. Nicholas. Let me see. Actually, let's just go to Snark. Oh, 50 mentions. Interesting. Friendly Fire, Nicholas DeOrio. What was this segment about?
No.
So guys, he knows in advance there is a segment about him in this video, right? Just stumbled upon a comment randomly. Does it, this is a video from 6 months ago that he never watched. He escaped being a segment, he never watched it. But he knows there's a segment about him. And he goes there and immediately starts looking for the segment about him. Again, you can't prove anything.
Ish way, I guess, Nicholas DeOrio. Now, whilst in a live stream, Nicholas DeOrio, as he stupidly does quite frequently, ended up
Wait, she's right. I did. I actually did. No, I leaked all my DMs, bro. You could see my messages with Mauler.
Showing his inbox on Twitter, to which people had noticed that AB, one of the members of the H3H3 podcast, was in Nicholas DeOrio's DM.
What was my DM? Wait, hold on. What was it? What did I say to AB? I can tell you what it is. No problem. Let me see. What was no problem? I actually wonder what the context of this DM was, because I only have like a few DMs with AB. So that'll take like 2 seconds to find. Was this when I warned him about... this might be when I warned him about Bad Empanada before all the drama started. Because... no problem. Oh! It was to send I sent along the Rosanna AB thumbnail thing. That's what that was. That was on January 6th. Dude, the most iconic January 6th reveal.
His inbox on Twitter.
Who is in here? Wait, dude, oh my god. Dude, this is fucking insane. Wait, dude, these DMs are ridiculous. Look at all the names, bro. This is like actually fucking insane. Dude, so there's just one guy, there's a fake Augie, Mr. Beast, Lieutenant Cobra, Alex Gekmo, Colossal is Crazy, Paige Christie, Mauler, the Boston Tea Party group chat from the iconic leaks, and then the House group chat.
Some
which
of
was
this
the
is
Boston
funny
Tea
in
Party
ways
without
you guys
Keemstar
don't even appreciate.
For Bo Blacks
okay?
that we kicked Bo Blacks
Some of this
from.
is funny in ways you won't
this is
appreciate.
ridiculous. Dude, Tipster. Dude, it's Tipster, Fake Augie, Mr. Beast, Lieutenant Cobra, and Colossal is Crazy. Dude, I'm actually like.
I do love it. I love vague posting. Vague
for this.
posting t-shirt. Vague
Holy
posting
shit,
hat.
dude. Was there Mudahar in there?
I love
too?
vague. I heckin' love like vague posting.
I don't see Muda.
To which people had noticed that AB, one of the members of the H3H3 podcast,
It's not really fair to critique this in current day, though. This was made a long time ago.
was in Nicholas DeOrio's DMs. Other members of the H3 Snark Reddit had also noticed that my name was there too. And that started the whole, we don't like Paige, she supports...
Dude, wait, so is that why you sent me to the corn page, Christy? Because the Snark subreddit started turning on you for associating with it?
Yada, yada, yada.
By the way, you act like we're like friendly or whatever. You spelt my name wrong, you fucking moron. It's literally in my fucking channel. My name is my channel. It's extremely easy to spell it right.
Now, I have had a parasocial love-hate relationship with Nicholas DeOrio for quite some time.
I don't think I've ever loved you.
I respect him as a content creator.
That's not what that means, you fucking retard. That's not what that means. She said she's had a parasocial, as in one-sided, retard, love-hate relationship with you. As in, she has love and hate feelings towards you. You fucking moron. He's so dumb, bro.
I think he's fucking fantastic.
Thank you.
At what he does, even if I don't agree with him. However, as a person, I find him insufferable, as he does with me. He doesn't
This is fair. This is a fair argument.
like me either. However, I would say that there was a morsel amount of mutual respect. I stay in my corner, you stay in yours, and we're good. However, when I found out the update of
Your corner is like way off to the side though, you know, completely out of the way, you know?
the H3
Some would say it's like, you know, just like a little area off to the side.
H3 Snark Reddit, as well as the lawsuits and legal documents and all of that kind of stuff, I reached out to Nicholas DeOrio to let him know about it. As you can see on the screen, this is exactly what I said to Nick.
Oh, she leaked my DM. I think I wrote back to her knowing that she was going to leak my DMs. That was the intention.
Guys, this was all
Hey,
5D chat. Guys, these DMs where I totally exposed myself for knowingly sweeping for DMCA abuse, this was all 5D chess, actually. You don't understand.
Oreo, just leaving you a why do you keep, look at this. Look at this. I actually need to fucking point this out to you. How do you spell my name wrong? It's, look.
Everyone should keep spelling his name like this. You spell his name like this forever
DeOrio.
now.
Hey DeOrio. How? How do you click on someone's DMs and spell their name wrong? How do you do that? How do you fucking, this is insane.
Nicholas DeOrio. Now, I did this because...
What did I say in those?
Why don't you speak Italian?
Because I stopped responding to her because I realized that this wasn't like a friendly conversation. This is content.
I respect. However, as a person, I find him insufferable. Mutual respect. I say in my
Guys,
corner,
I stopped
you stay in
responding
yours, and
because it wasn't like a friendly conversation. It was content. Not because I was on the record having been sent clear evidence that Ethan Klein was abusing DMCA.
Okay. However, when I found out the update of the H3H3 Snark Reddit, as well as the lawsuits and legal documents and all of that kind of stuff, I reached out to Nicholas DeOrio to let him know about it. As you can see on the...
Okay, let's see. It was, hi, just leaving you a tip here. Ethan Klein has been abusing the copyright system despite his history of fighting for fair use. Well, now it seems like he's been targeting things that were supposed to be market replacements, but...
So, Nick has been in these DMs, Nick benefits from not showing you this Reddit thread or any of the surrounding evidence in this segment. In these DMs, Nick has been shown evidence of Ethan Klein's strikes. That Reddit post lays it all out, and I believe has the legal letters attached and everything. It's literally, it's right there. He has acknowledged it. He has been sent it.
I almost think, I might have even mentioned that on stream, but it sounds like that's what they were, that like what he's mad about now is what he was mad about then, right? But if he's striking down posts that are here, watch this mirror and don't give Ethan the views, that's based and best practices is what I said. This is literally, do you know the lawsuit stuff that happened recently? This is in January.
Yeah, and then what happens next? Paige Christie says, no, he's not.
I don't know how long these DMs might have even like crawled back into December, but the rumor was he was striking people who were doing market replacement type content where it's like intentionally pushing views away from original content. So that was all that I'd said, was if that's the case, that's probably like fine. No, he's not. I'd say that would be fair also, but that's not what he's doing. I have a question. So what is Paige Christie's current position on the Denims, Frogan, and Casey Tron lawsuits?
So isn't this amazing, guys? DeOrio, likely knowing there is going to be criticism coming his way for this, he's presented a couple of different options, but we'll just lay out two. One, he could simply fold and accept that Paige Christie did inform him of this. He could pull up a Reddit thread on stream, and he could offer a clear condemnation of Ethan Klein abusing the DMCA system to attempt to get a forum talking shit about him shut down. That's number one. That's option number one. That would totally take the wind out of the sails of any criticism. Everyone would have to admit, no, fair enough, Nick, you've taken your opportunity to be principled and you've stood on it. But no, Nick decides, and this is what buries him here. This is what buries him here. You can't prove that, you know, he's this fucking aware without him getting on stream and doing this stupid shit. But no, presented with an opportunity to correct the record, to offer the principled position, his final opportunity, he decides instead to just fucking deflect. Just fucking deflect and go, well, what do you think about the current lawsuits? Well, if you're okay with Ethan striking complete re-uploads then, you have to be okay with the current lawsuits, which are actually about reactions and actually vary in how transformative they were. And one of them was, in fact, more transformative than my reaction was. But no, it's fucking crazy, man. It's totally crazy. It's so insane, man. How is this not just dead to rights? Seriously, I'm inviting any DeOrio fan, any fucking idiot, content creator. I don't think Smag was defending DeOrio at this point, but anyone who wants to come on and defend this, seriously. Dickers avoiding this right now as well. Anyone defend this, seriously, I'd love to talk to you. This is clear as fucking day. DeOrio betraying one of the most core principles. Augie, if Augie doesn't cover this, the big sweep's on, by the way, for the third time. Fourth time even. It's fucking crazy. Anyone defend this? Seriously, this is one of the most core principles. All these guys defended. Augie, Boblax, Nick, all these guys have been pounding for fucking years about DMCA abuse, archiving being okay, full re-uploads being okay, fucking everything, man. They go fucking crazy with it. Now, I'm willing to accept a more common sense, fair use position as you've grown older, but this is absolutely outside the bounds. This is absolutely outside the bounds. There's no fucking excuse for it. And this fat, lying fuck knew. He knew, and he covered it up because he was certain this was against his principles. He knew there was no excuse for this one. There's no amount of, oh, they deserve it, you can do about shutting down a forum when it was months before the CPS call. It's months before any of the other lawsuits. Months before the fucking skulls. Totally separate. You cannot make any argument. He is dead to fucking rights, backed into the corner like a fucking animal, dude. And he has nowhere to go on this. Nowhere to go on this, and he will never address it because of that. Unless someone literally makes him, he will never address this inconsistency. And if he attempts to, it'll be more whataboutism, deflecting bullshit. And you fucking know it. And I will fucking argue with anyone about it. Augie, any of these fucking dipshits, any of these retarded fucking cock-sucking small commentary channels with fucking 70 subscribers who get 20 concurrents and just repeat what Nick says, any fucking spicy crisp who watches Pegasus, anyone who disagrees with this can come on, call in, and tell me exactly how either these DMCAs are defensible or how Nick didn't know and didn't completely betray every fucking principle that his gaggle of fucking retard friends claimed was important. And let me remind you guys, there is a tweet from Nicholas DeOrio talking about how, I don't know if it's about deplatforming campaigns, which this is, by the way. Ethan's goal here was to use DMCA to deplatform the Snark subreddit. He has a tweet about deplatforming campaigns where he says, all these YouTubers feeling confident doing deplatforming campaigns means we're not doing our job well enough. Basically saying we should be hounding these people more. Where was that when this was happening? Where was that when this was happening, Nick? Is it only fun when you're going after some stupid fucking bitch who can't fight back? Is that the only time it's fun for you, Nick? When it's against children or women? When it's against children or women you can't fight back? Not that you go after children, but, you know, you get the point I'm making, people weaker than you. Is that the only time it's fun for you, Nick? Is that the only time you can get off on it? Is it maybe when it's a wealthy Jew who butters your bread? Maybe then it's a little bit more difficult. There is no way out of this. There is no excuse for this. They have nothing. And it's even more hilarious that it's Paige Christie who got him on this. Some, you know, I don't mean to deride her at all, but it is like some left-leaning, you know, black woman, overweight black woman. By all accounts, to all these commentary guys who, you know, absolutely feast on people being easy targets for young, white, right-wing audiences. Let's be totally honest here. Let's just be real with ourselves about what happens, whether it's some wretched trans freak or some bitchy woman who's telling, you know, gamers that they're worthless, or saying the N-word's bad, it's some cuck, it's some weak man, you know, whatever it is. An easy target for the crowds they appeal to. And Paige fucking raped him. Has him dead to rights in DMs acknowledging something that totally betrays all of his principles. And he literally, when he goes to cover it, he can't even muster a real defense. It's just, well, what's your opinion on the current lawsuits? And when it doesn't contradict at all. It's totally easy, totally acceptable for her to have a position that you can't strike these random fucking clips, but you can strike full re-uploads. Or you can strike full re-uploads, but you shouldn't sue Denims, Frogan, and Caseytron. Those are all, you can hold all those positions at once and it not be contradictory. Because you can think that no commentary is too little commentary. So a full re-upload is a market replacement with no commentary. A small clip with a title is simply a contained piece that doesn't create a market replacement and provides substantive critical commentary for the amount of content used. And then you can also think that a full-scale react, when you're mentioned in the video, even if it's not fully substantive, is also allowed. You can hold all these positions at once and it not be contradictory. But Nick desperately tries to use this fucking hypocrisy point when it's meaningless. There's nothing to it. And nobody could defend this again. So they've got nothing. Totally raped. If you're a fucking retarded DeOrio defender still, you're totally raped on this. DeOrio's totally raped on this. And it's only going to get worse. It's only going to get worse.
I got 2 seconds into it.
It's pretty unsurprising to me that Paige escaped becoming a segment on Nick's channel. You see, in situations like this, Nick isn't actually waiting on more information. He's waiting for the story to go away. Sometimes he'll be scrolling around on stream, and Nick might accidentally stumble upon some of that information that he's supposedly waiting on.
Okay. Do this or get sued, your only option to avoid litigation. You provide our office with all correspondence you had with the moderators of H3 Snark.
So
also,
I
guess this
guys,
is like,
he's seen the legal letter too. He's seen the legal letter. He's seen the extraneous demands being made by Ethan and his legal team for these forum users off of a DMCA.
Kuihman streams are so peak, it's just 5 minutes of no commentary from Kuihman and then the most insanely correct truth nuke you have ever heard.
Thank you for $5, Dofo. Huge appreciated, thank you. I choose my words wisely. So he's seen this legal warning. Assume the DMCA was justified. Assume it was a market replacement. Just for a moment. Imagine that. Would this legal letter be justified? Remember what it asks. It asks for this user to hand over a bunch of communication with just random other internet users under threat of litigation that would probably destroy them from a multimillionaire. Even if it was a legitimate DMCA, that would be crazy. That would be totally wrong.
I guess this is happening now. This is happening, the H3 Snark lawsuit.
Uh-oh, that letter looks kind of bad for Ethan, doesn't it? How will Nick respond?
Keep in mind that federal court filings are public. Anyone performing a simple Google search on you, let alone a background check, will discover this information. You have until March 25th, 2025 at 5 p.m. to agree to these terms. So I don't know when this was sent. Noah Samson made a community...
He just streams past it. No curiosity, no interest in learning more about it. We just move on. He's choosing to remain ignorant about the story. Going back to Michaela Reigns, this was his playbook also.
I'm not going to cover this story because I feel like there's a ton of misinformation coming out about it. Supposedly this was related to a snark. Apparently the husband's saying it has other... I don't know. A lot of people are making huge sweeping assessments based off this person's suicide.
A lot of people? Like who, Nick? And that's bad, right, Nick?
I'm not going to sit here and speculate on it. Yeah, I don't know. Realistically, I'm not going to delve super deep into an unrelated story to try to investigate on how she died. So that's my stance on that position.
But with Etika, it was the worst thing Ethan had ever done. Worst shit Ethan had ever done when it was Etika. When it was easy to stand on, when everyone cared, when it was Epic Nintendo
It's not
Man,
an
Epic Black
unrelated
Nintendo
story.
Man, everyone
It's
loves.
part of Ethan's entire justification for trying to eliminate snark communities from the internet. This is something Nick has been agreeing with and pushing for months. But because Ethan is the one making the claims about Michaela's death, he all of a sudden doesn't have enough information. We just don't know. I'm not going to speculate. It's not even relevant. This stuff works pretty well on a lot of people. Between these first two steps, Nick can generally do extremely one-sided coverage and cater to a very specific audience without much worry about anybody caring or maybe even noticing. Except when they do. Eventually, people do start noticing, and when they do, Nick moves to step 3. Contingency. People are starting to notice. Something's off. They're watching Nick's coverage, and they're thinking, huh, this guy never criticizes Ethan. It's almost like he's sweeping, which is a suggestion.
He made a whole dedicated to Etika tribute and his Ethan video in 2020.
That Nick doesn't take too kindly to.
The big sweep might be on.
So this guy stuck a dagger right into my neck the minute we stopped talking.
It's hilarious, man, because it's like the whole criticism is Ethan uses people's dead bodies, right? That's the whole criticism. And then by not applying that principle consistently, he shows that he was using Etika's dead body. He was actually parading Etika's dead body around just as much as Ethan was. Because he doesn't actually give a fuck that Ethan was doing it. It was just a criticism he could levy at Ethan. So he just demonstrates, never mattered to him in the first place. It was just an excuse to use someone's fucking corpse to impugn his enemies. Thank you for the $9.99, Max. Huge appreciate. Thank you.
I'm going to implicate.
Money really is black magic. Anyways, I don't have any extra money for the Patreon, but hopefully you send this to Kilo.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. We'll be sending that right to Kilo. Trust me, trust me. I will actually show. I've just said in Spicy. There is now a Kilo Tonics Patreon, guys. So if you do actually want to support Kilo directly, you can now do that. It's 18 plus. But yeah, there's a Patreon. There's a Patreon, guys.
You're sweeping, and yeah, so I'm gonna like rape you in the ass on this one.
You see, Nick works pretty hard at trying to present himself as the guy who always has the correct take. He
Classic tweet. Classic tweet. I'm on the right side of nearly every drama. You know what this was about, too? This was about fucking him getting Cole Jobs wrong. Him backtracking on defending Cole Jobs. People were giving him shit, and he's like, no, I'm always right, actually.
Calling his credibility or honesty into question, not just because he needs to protect his brand, but also because he's extremely sensitive. So he does what any good liar does when they start feeling pressure. He starts making sure that he has a way out, a contingency plan. The trick is knowing when to do it. You don't just criticize Ethan at random. You wait for a moment where it's easy and safe to appear critical. Something minor, a slight disagreement or a half criticism, anything you can have on record to point to so you can say that you're impartial. To this point, Nick has neglected to cover the DMCA story, as well as the lawsuit against Stage 3 Snark, and he's also chosen to remain ignorant about the details.
I haven't covered two things with Ethan Klein. There's the two things I haven't really covered. One being the lawsuit against the Snark subreddits.
But he also knows that the story's not just gonna go away, so at some point along the way, he starts hedging.
Twitch streamers have been DMCAing streamable links and Reddit posts for like a decade.
Dude,
it was extremely common for them to be striking clips. And
look at how it changed. Look at how the principles shift. The DMCA abusers were the worst of the worst. Now all of a sudden, DMCA abuse is fine because Alinity did it like 6 years ago. Guys, Alinity did it like 6 years ago. Can you believe it?
no, it's not cool. We didn't think it was cool when Dark Viper struck the clip of him getting mad at Among Us. When you're just doing 30-second clips, 40-second clips, and if that was what Ethan was striking down, if they weren't supposed to be market substitutes for segments like don't give the stream the view, watch it here. Yeah, I mean that's kind of shitty. That's kind of cringy.
Kind of shitty, kind of shitty, kind of cringy. If that's what he was doing, bear in mind this is months after he's been made aware of all the information. He's got the information. This is just hedging. This is just pure hedging.
Statement is an escape hatch. It's a hypothetical criticism where he doesn't actually commit to anything. If that's what Ethan was doing, it would be kind of cringy. Like he's not actually giving his opinion on the topic, but the statement is on the record now. If anyone accuses Nick of sweeping for Ethan, he now has this clip he can point to and say, see, I did disagree with Ethan all along. He did the same thing when Ethan went after sponsors, something Nick has loudly opposed for years.
I'm not a supporter of targeting anyone's revenue. I think it can damage the entire landscape.
But listen to Nick's attitude on this behavior now.
I'm not in favor of attacking sponsors. I haven't used my audience specifically to go push this further like that. I don't like that stuff.
Realistically, there's not much of a way to hold Twitch to account. The weird double standard that Hassan gets for all of his friends, this is a corrupt platform. And I think it does need to be destroyed. That's my personal opinion. I don't agree with Dan Saltman's methods to target sponsors the way that he has. I agree a bit more with the way that Ethan did it because he was targeting TwitchCon, going over like the panel that they approved. But like,
remember how Ethan spoke about how Nick spoke about Ethan targeting sponsors back in the day? Remember, guys? Do you remember? Back when Ethan made a big hit piece going on about G Fuel this, G Fuel that. This is on your fucking hat, Keemstar. You're pushing rape allegations with your fucking hat that says G Fuel. Nick's like, no, you can't target Keemstar sponsors like that. You can't target Keemstar sponsors like that. Pointing out he's wearing G Fuel hats targeting sponsors. When Ethan explicitly, years later, targets sponsors, saying he's targeting sponsors for the purpose of targeting sponsors to deplatform, to hurt creators' income, all of a sudden Nick's totally okay with it. That's actually preferable to Dan's tactics, because Dan always has to be framed as the real evil in Ethan's life. It's always just Dan's malign influence, not Ethan doing anything himself. Or his lawyer acting on his own without instruction, putting stuff in the lawsuit.
Site was always going to have an adpocalypse. This was happening either way.
It's this weird half-condemnation, where he presents like he still has his older, more principled position.
I'm not in favor of attacking sponsors,
but literally everything else he says goes against it.
This is a corrupt platform, and I think it does need to be destroyed. This was happening either way.
You're not against targeting sponsors, Nick. You're supporting it. You're just playing both sides so you can defend yourself no matter what. Nick actually does this all the time.
True.
He gives these mealy-mouthed, tepid, half-baked criticisms, where he's not really fucking saying anything meaningful, but then he'll go and point to them later as evidence that he's unbiased. Junk Drawer Gaming, a small commentary channel, helped identify this pattern in a recent video pointing out the massive holes in Nick's coverage, specifically the fact that he had never directly addressed Ethan exploiting Michaela's death.
But despite boldly disagreeing with Ethan on this over 6 months later, Nick still has never addressed Ethan weaponizing this woman's death to bolster his campaign to remove his detractor base from the internet.
And Nick's response,
W Junk Drawer Gaming shout out, W Junk Drawer Gaming shout out, huge.
Predictably, was to claim that he had in fact already criticized Ethan for this, but he can't possibly be referring to this.
I'm not going to cover this story because I feel like there's a ton of misinformation coming out about it.
Or this.
Yeah, I completely disagree with this.
So this supposed criticism must be this.
If we're going to make a critique towards Ethan, the one that sticks in the back of my mind, I think we covered it briefly.
So did you hear those guys? Those are the two previous addressings of Saberfox.
Predictably, was to claim that he had in fact already criticized Ethan for this, but he can't possibly be referring to this.
I'm not going to cover this story because I feel like there's a ton of misinformation coming out about it.
Or this.
Yeah, I completely disagree with this.
So this supposed criticism must be this.
If we're going to make a critique towards Ethan, the one that sticks in the back of my mind, I think we covered it briefly.
No, you didn't.
There was a clip that came out. What was it? Someone killed themselves on Reddit or something?
Okay, already. Why does it seem like he's just pretending to not remember the details of the story?
And they were blaming like a snark subreddit that did it?
No,
so
not
remember,
they.
guys, it's been plenty of time since he was informed of those DMCA strikes, right? And he is already, I believe this is past the point where he's hedging on stream, acting as though, you know, if those DMCA strikes were frivolous, then that would be bad and cringy. That would be cringy. Yet, when he sat here, he's saying, oh, well, if you are going to make a criticism of Ethan, if I have to come up with one, I guess it'd be the Saberfox thing. I can't think of anything else, though.
Ethan was the main person pushing this talking point.
But then, a couple hours later, once people did research, it realistically didn't have anything to do with, or it didn't play a large role in what happened to that person. Like, the snark community was extremely small. And then it kind of got pushed into, like, this is the danger of snark communities or whatever.
It got pushed. It got pushed. You mean Ethan pushed it? Ethan exploited a woman's death for his own personal benefit. But Nick will never say those words. He'll instead say things like this.
I think like maybe waiting to kind of see how things turn out before jumping on that would benefit everybody.
So Nick's key criticism of Ethan was actually just him giving general advice on how it will be good for everybody to do more patient research, and he avoids saying that Ethan did anything wrong. And now he's waving it around as proof that he's not a complete hack, and he's just hoping nobody goes back and checks. But by this point, the criticism is starting to mount. People aren't just asking about Ethan, they're asking about Nick. And that's a different kind of problem, because you can't exactly sweep criticism of yourself under the rug. You can either address it, or you can kill it. Nick is starting to feel some heat. People are asking questions, such as why the guy who built his career on things like standing up against copyright abuse is suddenly silent when Ethan Klein does it. And every criticism of Ethan that goes unanswered is a criticism of Nick for not answering it. And he's aware of that. So when Nick runs cover for Ethan, he's running cover for himself too. People are talking about him. And Nick's go-to way of dealing with it is to do absolutely anything he can to simply disrupt.
He used 2 words? Yeah, that's fine. They do that in the dentist system. What do you mean? That's where he's ripping it from, right? Is the dentist system. They do it in the dentist system. It's like nurture dependence and shit like that, right?
About Nick. And that's a different kind of problem, because you can't exactly sweep criticism of yourself under the rug. You can either address it, or you can kill it. Nick is starting to feel some heat. People are asking questions, such as why the guy who built his career on things like standing up against copyright abuse is suddenly silent when Ethan Klein does it. And every criticism of Ethan that goes unanswered is a criticism of Nick for not answering it. And he's aware of that. So when Nick runs cover for Ethan, he's running cover for himself too. People are talking about him. And Nick's go-to way of dealing with it is to do absolutely anything he can to simply disrupt the conversation, change the subject and make it about something else, reframe the attacks and make them sound completely different. Anything he can do to just kill the criticism. His favorite tactic is, instead of actually responding to things, he'll just try to flip them around on the person making the point.
Why did none of these people speak up against... I don't even understand. None of these people spoke up against Bad Empanada when he struck my Twitter 3 times? Are you serious? That's so crazy, guy. It's almost like they're team sports.
It's bad when Bad Empanada strikes you too. Just like it's bad when Bad Empanada doxes people. Dude, who is he talking about this? Is it just snarkers between random Reddit users that don't stick up for him? What the fuck is he talking about, man? What the fuck is he saying? What is this deflection, bro?
Criticism is about Ethan, Nick. Nobody was asking if everyone else is being consistent. What do you think about what Ethan is doing? But Nick still uses this move, literally all the time.
And if that was what Ethan was striking down, if they weren't supposed to be market substitutes for segments like, don't give the stream the view, watch it here. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of shitty. That's kind of cringy. But none of these people operate in, like, the same world, I guess. Bad Empanada...
That literally, dude, that could be like Destiny or food shops there. Do you know what I mean? But none of these people operate in, like, the same world. You can't use the same set.
Striking a clip of a video that I own most of the content of, that's fine because Nick DeOrio is bad. But Ethan Klein doing it is horrible because Ethan Klein is trying to censor people. By the way, I'm gonna need every single person who has the take on stream that going after sponsors is bad. I'm gonna need their takes audited. I want to know what they said 5 years ago about Keemstar. I want to know what they said about Pokimane. I need their take on all these situations to know if they're just sweeping. But the rumor was he was striking people.
Of course, it's people who are against targeting sponsors that are sweeping, right, Nick? This makes sense somehow, guys. This makes sense somehow.
People who are doing market replacement type content. So that was all that I'd said, was if that's the case, that's probably, like, fine. No, he's not. I'd say that would be fair also, but that's not what he's doing. I have a question. So what is Paige Christie's current position on
I trust Salvo
Denims,
implicitly too,
Frogan,
actually. I
and-
actually trust Salvo implicitly. He says that trustworthy vibe. Gives good vibes.
Casey-tron lawsuits. Are we going to maintain this position? I'm just curious.
Sort of guy you could leave your car keys with, I feel like.
I feel like mine's fairly consistent. Are we going to maintain this position that that would be fair also? I'm just wondering.
Clearly, instead of actually engaging with what's being said and potentially saying anything bad about Ethan, Nick would rather just aimlessly hypocrisy hunt. Anything to avoid being honest. Another one of Nick's favorite maneuvers is to just completely change what's being said about him, like when people point out his totally biased coverage.
And most of these guys have been doing the Ethan Klein. Oh, Nick, you cover Ethan Klein too much. I'm sorry, I have 3 segments from the last stream. Would you like me to post a 7-hour video instead? I gotta cut it up into pieces. Dude, it's the Great War being fought on the battlefield of, like, I don't care about Ethan Klein anymore and I'm lashing out. I said I was so caught off guard by you saying that I was loyal to Ethan to...
Like, it's literally, like, I swear Chud is the only one saying, oh, I just don't care about EHD anymore. I want it to stop. No one else making the argument. I actually really care about this drama. I'm actually way too invested in this drama, actually. You know, to be honest. It's certainly never been my criticism that Nick covers it too much. It's always been the dishonesty. It's always been the fact he's lying, you know?
A fault because we had spoken about this topic and I didn't realize you thought that I was a principleless sellout. It completely caught me off guard. I interpreted at the time as you being upset that EHD was a content black hole where no other stories were getting attention and you were holding me almost personally responsible.
So this is the, oh, you just think I'm talking about Ethan too much. No, it's not just that. If you were just talking about Ethan and it was, you know, fair, whatever. There's obviously a criticism that I've got of, seems like you're being very favorable towards Ethan a lot, to a fault, you know?
So when someone says your coverage of Ethan is dishonest, Nick pretends they're saying, that Nicholas DeOrio guy, he talks about Ethan Klein too much. He's responding to a criticism that literally nobody made, and simultaneously trying to make his detractors sound very, very stupid. And if anyone is simply 100 IQ enough to see through all of this, friends or colleagues who might want to challenge Nick on his behavior, Nick just cuts them off. Kills the conversation entirely.
Guys, key update. Nicholas DeOrio has now blocked me on Twitter. Nicholas DeOrio has now officially blocked me on Twitter.
He's not interested in maintaining any friendships. He's not interested in defending his viewpoints. He's not interested in being an honest creator. He's only interested in one thing: being a yes man. All of these little tactics and maneuvers that Nick pulls, those aren't the goal. The goal was always to find a way to become the #1 Ethan Klein ball washer.
Remember when this was like the worst thing ever? Remember when all these guys are like, Ethan Klein can't take criticism because they're posting shit saying you should watch this as an alternative to his actual content? Now we're just striking clips again. This is bad empanada all over again. These guys total hypocrites, dude. Total fucking hypocrites. This is insane.
Did you notice what happened there? 9 months have passed. Nick has never meaningfully covered the copyright strikes or the filings for the lawsuit against H3 Snark. But all of a sudden, in the middle of one of his classic pointless hypocrisy hunts, Nick blurts out his actual stance on the topic, and to no one's surprise, it's just Ethan's side of things.
They're posting shit saying you should watch this as an alternative to his actual content. These guys total hypocrites, dude. This is insane.
It is insane. I thought you were waiting on more information, Nick. The truth is, there never is more information that Nick is waiting on. Nick isn't waiting.
There's also just like way more mask off moments. I think even Kilo has time to address in this video. I'm sure we'll go over at some point, but Nick has had so many mask off moments where he just shows his actual opinion.
For anything. He's just working.
Nicholas DeOrio, the Pope, is in chat. He says the Godzilla collab is sick.
Aw.
My Teddy Fresh order has shipped. He's
Oh my god, Saint Nicholas.
The most notable example of this is Nick's readiness to defend Ethan's lies about Denim's chat during the CPS story.
Love made a good point. You said, is this every comment? I believe this is a live feed of the chat. This isn't edited.
What about the top right? I thought these were
No,
selected.
it's this, I think when you full screen it. No, this is an edit. It's a cutout of the full
And then he plays the clip where Ethan explicitly tells you, okay, that they clipped the chat and it's like a fucking cutout of it.
Dude, the sweeping is crazy. He's legit trying to pretend that Ethan didn't misportray this clip, man. It's so fucking insane. It's so insane. If you guys need this recapped, maybe you don't know this talking point, maybe somehow you're a new viewer or something that's stumbled across this. Let's take a quick look. Let's see. Kilo does lay it out in pretty quick time, somewhere around here. Where does he do it? Around here.
entire chat saying the call. The point is not that you instruct herself or anyone in her community making contact with CPS. And I do not believe Denim's made a direct call to action to her audience to contact CPS, obviously, right?
Okay, so now we've moved on from this.
Denim's endorses this. She's directly responsible.
And the claim is now that she essentially primed her community to call CPS.
The point is not that you instructed your audience to contact CPS. The point is that you propagated the false statements that led to this incident. And you turned a blind eye to your chat, urging people to contact CPS. His kids crawl around and eat shit, and her whole entire chat is saying to call CPS.
In his video about the CPS call, Ethan shows a cutout of Denim's chat during her coverage of the Giardia story. The cutout shows numerous chatters expressing concerns about the client's kids, with some mentioning CPS. The way Ethan presents this is as though Denim's chat was universally responding this way.
Notice the chat is almost in complete universal agreement. Call CPS. Call child endangerment. CPS, social services. Bro needs to unironically call CPS. That's child endangerment, etc., etc. I'll let the chat play for you, but you can see just how crazed this community is. And once again, this is Denim's chat, and it's pretty much 100% of the comments saying call CPS on them.
But what Ethan is showing here is in fact not 100% of the chat. This is a curated selection of chat messages that Ethan got from this Reddit post. In her response, Denims did the math, and between the first and last of the 65 messages that Ethan showed in his video, Denims had almost 1,000 messages sent in her chat, meaning the messages Ethan showed as evidence of her entire community being whipped up into a frenzy were only 7% of the messages sent during her coverage. And I also wanted to point out that several of the comments in that cutout, they don't even have anything to do with CPS, and they're very similar to a lot of messages from Ethan's own chat during the Giardia story. So it would be pretty dishonest to include these as evidence of wrongdoing, meaning the actual total of CPS-related messages in Denim's chat is even lower than this. But Ethan doubles down on this outright false presentation the next day.
I'm not exaggerating when I say literally every comment is call CPS.
Yeah, no shit. It's edited. I don't know if Ethan knew this was an edited selection, or if he just saw something that helped him out and didn't bother to verify it. But he immediately presented it as fact and used it to bolster his side of the story. And he tried to stand on it when he got challenged.
Love made a good point. You said, is this every comment? I believe this is a live feed of the chat. This isn't edited.
What about the top right? I thought these were
No, it's
selected.
this, I think when you full screen it. No, this is an edit. It's a cutout of the full chat. It's just enlarged there.
Oh, really?
Over the screen, yeah.
You know what? We'll just make
Just
it all.
enlarged.
We'll make the whole thing up. We'll dock it. A picture. We'll make it up.
So yeah, this was nowhere near her whole chat. But even if Ethan thinks that Denim still should have moderated better, which I can probably agree with, there's a pretty big difference between a failure to moderate and being causally responsible for any subsequent action. Denims does have an obligation to try to mitigate harm, but failing to fulfill that obligation doesn't mean that she caused the CPS call. Denims didn't cause the call, someone else did. So when it comes to responsibility, what's really left? Well, some people claim that Bad Empanada is notoriously bad faith and malicious, so Denim shouldn't have platformed him in the first place. But I mean, we're just getting so far away from any true culpability here. Like, what, Denims is responsible for the call because she watched a video from a guy who might be known to lie, and then a tiny portion of her chat responded to the lies, and Denims didn't delete every single one of them, and then days later the call gets placed, which could have been anybody, but we just assumed that it was Denim's fault because, I don't know. Like, is this really the standard of responsibility that we're gonna hold people to? At that point, Denims is so detached from the action of calling CPS itself, it doesn't really seem fair to blame her for it. But you know what? Let's accept Ethan's entire premise here. Let's say Denims is responsible for not moderating enough and for platforming these harmful lies without pushing back. What are the supposed lies? What does Ethan claim Bad Empanada said that was false?
So, we'll leave that part there and return to the DeOrio segment, because I think that is pretty much what's relevant here.
Screen, yeah.
They're different, I think.
Yeah.
And like,
this is an edit.
Nick isn't waiting for anything. He's just working.
Nicholas DeOrio, the Pope, is in chat. He says the Godzilla collab is sick.
Aw.
My Teddy Fresh order has shipped. He's
Oh my god, Saint Nicholas.
The most notable example of this is Nick's readiness to defend Ethan's lies about Denim's chat during the CPS story.
Love made a good point. You said, is this every comment? I believe this is a live feed of the chat. This isn't edited.
What about the top right? I thought these were
No,
selected.
it's this, I think when you full screen it. No, this is an edit. It's a cutout of the full chat.
And then he plays the clip where Ethan explicitly tells you, okay, that they clipped the chat, and it's like a fucking cutout of it.
Chat. It's just enlarged
Oh,
there.
really?
Over the screen, yeah.
They're different, I think.
Yeah.
And like, it's directly explained to you in the stream what exactly this is.
No,
is this
it's
not crazy? Is that not a crazy sweep? It's directly explained to you in the stream what it is. What does Ethan say? It's the full chat just blown up on the screen. What is it actually? A filtered set of chat messages that represent 6% of the total chat across that time period, displaying only the absolute worst messages that support their narrative. How do you make this make sense, dude?
It's an edit. It's a cutout of the full chat.
And then he plays the clip where Ethan explicitly tells you, okay, that they clipped the chat, and it's like a fucking cutout of it.
Chat. It's just enlarged
Oh,
there.
really?
Over the screen, yeah.
They're different, I think.
Yeah.
And like, it's directly explained to you in the stream what exactly this is.
No, it's not. But it doesn't matter. Nick isn't watching this clip to evaluate whether it's true or form an honest opinion. He's watching the clip to find a way to push Ethan's bullshit, and his instinct is just to adopt whatever's being presented on screen, without really analyzing or looking into it. I mean, the snark lawsuits and copyright strikes, these things are key components of Ethan Klein's narrative over the last couple of years. Why do you think Nick was waiting so long to cover them?
So Ethan Klein, so if he goes on like an anti-Semite doxing spree, I mean, that's got to look so bad for everyone that promotes the fuck out of him. Nick DeOrio, this is looking pretty bad, bro. What?
We love Augie, man. We fucking love Augie. Cover this shit, bro. Cover this shit. Go live, Augie. We're demanding a live stream now, bro. We're demanding a live stream.
How's he gonna sweep this one up? How is Fatty
Nick,
gonna sweep for?
You got to do something about this tonight, man.
We're demanding a live stream, otherwise you're sweeping. I know. And I know there's nothing worse to Augie and Nick than being accused of sweeping. That's a heinous attack on their credibility, equivalent to sticking a blade into their throat, I hear. Equivalent to essentially slitting their throat. That's how they feel about it. That's the level of pain they feel when someone says they're using a broom.
I haven't covered two things with Ethan Klein, but I'll just give you kind of my rundown with them, because I intend to cover them, but I'm trying to space this shit out, because it was just so much back-to-back.
Right, yes, of course.
One being the lawsuit against the Snark subreddits. I do have a tweet about it. I feel like I'm gonna end up on the side of being opposed at this point from what I've seen so far. Principally opposed to what he's doing, but I think there are ways that he can win me. I need to see exactly what he's doing. I haven't watched his video about it. I intend to do it all at once. I think he says 2 weeks now until the lawsuit drops. So we will be taking a look at that.
Nick didn't say that because he was open to criticizing Ethan. He said it because his friend Augie reminded him that old commentary audiences were still watching. And Nick...
Like, dude, how crazy is this, man?
You got to do something about this tonight, man.
So this is later that day. The same day Augie and Connor make those comments. Again, you might notice a little bit of a pattern here. The Nick only responds to pressure from other creators and never actually does the right thing himself.
I haven't covered two things with Ethan Klein, but I'll just give you kind of my rundown with them, because I intend to cover them, but I'm trying to space this shit out, because it was just so much back-to-back.
Right, yes, of course.
One being the lawsuit against the Snark subreddits. I do have a tweet about it. I feel like I'm gonna end up on the side of being opposed at this point from what I've seen so far. Principally opposed to what he's doing, but I think there are ways that he can win me. I need to see exactly what he's doing. I haven't watched his video about it. I intend to do it all at once. I think he says 2 weeks now until the lawsuit drops. So we will be taking a look at that.
Nick didn't say that because he was open to criticizing Ethan. He said it because his friend Augie reminded him that old commentary audiences were still watching. And Nick doesn't want those people to know that he was never actually the guy he pretends to be. Because if he ever actually looked at Ethan or Hassan honestly, by his own principles, the foundation of his entire channel, he would have to side against Ethan. But that's not an option. So instead, Nick just doesn't look.
I mean, facts?
The thing about Nicholas DeOrio, though, is that none of these things are technically lies. They're very Weasley, he's very slimy and intellectually dishonest, but he's not exactly lying. The lie is Nick doing all this stuff and then presenting himself as principled.
Do you have any actual principles at all? No, none of these people have any principles. It's not fun to be a principled streamer at this point.
His entire persona is the lie.
The hypocrisy hunting is going to be extremely difficult for me to navigate, because publicly I said that if a reactor doesn't react to your content, you should strike them. I said I'm against YouTuber lawsuits for the most part, but I do find it increasingly difficult to care about a Twitch streamer getting sued. The things that we have been saying for the last 5 years, if they had just been listened to at all, and people made the slightest bit of effort, there'd be nothing here for Ethan to sue over.
This entire thing is an attempt to silence creators that he doesn't like and to silence people he doesn't like.
Yeah, that's the best part of this, is that he scared a bunch of Redditors into shitting themselves and shutting an entire subreddit down. Go type in on H3 Snark and go read what they wrote about DeOrio and tell me how much I should feel bad for them that these little fucking rat fucks had to sit and cry and get scared for the night where they thought the big mean Ethan Klein lawsuit was gonna be in the mail the next day.
Wow, this guy sucks. Nobody is asking you to feel bad for anybody.
Did you hear that? Listen to this, man. Listen to this.
The things that we have been saying for the last 5 years, if they had just been listened to at all and people made the slightest bit of effort, there'd be nothing here for Ethan to sue over.
This entire thing is an attempt to silence creators that he doesn't like and to silence people he doesn't like.
Yeah, that's the best part of this, is that he scared a bunch of Redditors into shitting themselves and shutting an entire subreddit down. Go type in on H3 Snark and go read what they wrote about DeOrio and tell me how much I should feel bad for them that these little fucking rat fucks had to sit and cry and get scared for the night where they thought the big mean Ethan Klein lawsuit was gonna be in the mail the next day.
So guys, wow, I would defend their free speech, but go and see what they say about me. Go and see how much they snark me on this subreddit. Isn't this like the core of free speech? I may not like what you say, but I will defend to the death your right to say it. Is this not the core of free speech? The absolute core. That even when someone is saying something mean about you, you still defend their right to say it. But Nick has totally abandoned that. And he has some retarded clip that we've covered before where he says, I'm not a free speech absolutist, I'm a free speech enthusiast. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's the same shit, bro. It's the same argument applies. Because this isn't some super hard limit of free speech. We aren't talking about fucking child porn or lolly or whatever the fuck here. We are talking about people talking shit about you and Ethan. This is within any reasonable bounds of free speech, open dialogue. It's within any reasonable bounds. It doesn't matter that you're not an absolutist. If you have any principles surrounding free speech at all, you should be defending this. And obviously, your argument for not defending something should never, ever, ever, ever fucking be, go look at the shit they say about me, why should I? That's insane. That is some of the most morally bankrupt, depraved, opportunistic shit in the world. You are true. You are lower than a rapist, bro. You are lower in society than a fucking rapist pulling shit like that. You are genuinely going around claiming you're the fucking enforcer of DMCA protections or whatever the fuck. You're the enforcer of free speech. You're the John Wick of commentary. You're gonna take people out because they've done the wrong thing on YouTube, and then you sweep for this, and you just say, well, go look at the mean things they say about me. Go look at the mean things they say about me. They say I run a show called Rape Review and that I'm fat. It's slander.
Oh, this guy sucks. Nobody is asking you to feel bad for anybody. They're just asking if you think Ethan is doing something wrong. But this is exactly what Nick does. He actively runs away from having principles. And if he were just your average, unprincipled grifter, I mean, that would be bad enough, but the thing that really makes Nick so contemptible is that he's also just a total fucking loser. I mean, not only is he so sensitive that it's literally a meme to be blocked by Nicholas DeOrio on Twitter.
He blocked me. I've never spoken to this man in my life. Nick DeOrio.
Oh, he does that. He does that. Yeah,
I haven't talked to him.
And not only is he this gross, cackling, nasally weirdo,
because that's probably what he was until his girlfriend touched his penis. Remember, weight can be lost, hair can be growing back, but your body is ravaged forever. Listen, Cuts, you gotta smile more. You know, just give them a little bit more of a smile. That would go a long way with the men watching.
But on top of all that stuff, he's also a total moron. Like, he admits he doesn't know anything about politics.
I'm not a political fucking streamer. I don't know anything about politics. I'm horrible at politics. I've been coasting.
So why the fuck would anyone ever listen to him talk about anti-Semitism?
So this is an event that was...
Yeah, I legit saw some fucking retard on Twitter say, how's this a good argument? Racism and anti-Semitism aren't political. It's just common sense. My mind was blown. When there's like, it's a retarded statement on the face of it. But just think about the sort of debates that Nick's wading into. The distinction between anti-Semitism and anti-Zionism. What should be free speech and what should be hate speech? At what point virulent criticism of Israel and Israelis actually becomes about Jews and Jewish people, the Jewish religion and Jewish people? These are some of the topics that Nick is wading into. Those are incredibly political, incredibly debated. He's making statements about the fucking embassy worker shooting the day after it happens. The day it happens, I'm pretty sure. Saying it's an anti-Semitic hate crime. He's making that statement the day it happens, before it's even declared by anyone. It's fucking crazy. And it's crazy the narratives people try and spin, man. The idea that he doesn't cover politics or that he stays out of it, that he doesn't care. Shut the fuck up.
Headlined by Bosch to platform Zog, and apparently they didn't tell Zog that, like, Progressive Victory sent out, like, America's newest lolicon. Do you not know what Zog is? I think that's literally the guy's name.
Nick is kind of like one of those background characters from old high school movies. He's like that unnamed idiot that follows around the main idiot and, like, forces out laughs at their jokes.
Oh, McFly, your shoes untied. Don't be so gullible, McFly. Okay. I don't want to see you in here again.
Like, this is really all who Nick is. He's literally this guy. Yet somehow, this very stupid, wheezing, uncharismatic, dishonest blob of a guy made more money in donations last year than fucking Candace Owens. And he did that by, at some point, realizing that you can turn Ethan Good, Hassan Bad into a full-time job. But the Nicky D system still isn't complete. Not yet. Nick looks around. He sees Willie Mac's channel stagnating. He sees Tectone get a protective order granted against him. He sees Nux Taku get exposed for enabling grooming. He's looking down at which side of the aisle he's standing on, and he's panicking. So he starts worrying that he's possibly hitched his very large wagon to the wrong horse face. Nick's words, by the way, not mine. And he starts laying the foundation for the final step in his system, the step that ties the whole thing together, and the one that will allow him to repeat the whole process again. Distance. He sees the writing on the wall, and in classic Nick fashion, he starts planning his exit.
I hate this. I hate Hassan Piker, and I hate these people more. I hate these people so much. They're like actually fucking insane. Dude, people will put me next to these people because I also criticize Hassan Piker.
The only reason,
too much
guys,
of this
the only
going
reason.
on in the hating Hassan Piker community. It's fucking insane.
Nick can feel the ship sinking, and he's trying to make sure he has a clean way out before he goes down with it.
Yeah, this is why nobody can get held accountable, because Hassan Piker is bad.
Yeah, that is why no one gets held accountable, Nick. That's what my video is about. I'm glad we agree on at least one thing, but you don't get to be the one that points it out.
I'm starting to get blackpilled a little bit. I get why people hate EHD stuff. It has given so many people a voice who are just like subhuman wretches. I am awake and I can see these people. I hate them too.
Right. Guys,
oh
he's not like
Who
that.
does this guy think he's fooling? These people, as if he's not one of them. You are like them, Nick. Not because you're a rapist or a pedophile or anything like that, but because you're a liar. And you have massively profited off of doing the
And you'll take advantage of people weaker than you and you think you can get away with it. You know, like
exact same thing that they are.
This is the dumbest hill for Ethan to die on? Snark clip chimping bullshit? I'm sorry, who let in the Hassan Piker fan? He got hit on the Zionist policy, and I don't know how I feel about this. On one hand, I find it hilarious. On the other hand, I find it hilarious. It's Zionist, but
Nick
with Zionist,
just
it has
insulted me
3
viciously on
parentheses around either side. Everyone just fucking hates Jews now, it's insane. Oh no, they blacklisted the guy who supports terrorists. That's horrible. It's almost like Twitch has finally done something on their platform to moderate this abhorrent behavior. Like the levels of psychological warfare that we've reached for quote-unquote not liking Hassan Piker. Yeah, dude, we gotta take his kids away. A bunch of people use veiled anti-Semitism to attack Jews, specifically people he's friends with, and in some cases I would argue him. I don't agree with going after sponsors, but I kind of am. Her sponsor is Hassan Piker. Okay, so by going after Hassan Piker, I'm specifically targeting her income. Hassan Piker supports terrorists. I don't really understand what is the deceptive edit here. It's like maybe you shouldn't make yourself an extremely easy target while you're attacking this person's family. This is not even the first congressman that Hassan has jokingly told his audience to kill.
And now when he starts feeling public perception shifting ever so slightly away from him, he does what he's always done, and he starts trying to quietly pitter-patter away. Okay, maybe not so quietly. This is what he did with Bo Blacks. He did it with Destiny to an extent. He'll coast off of popular sentiment for as long as he can, and only when things get too hot will he then turn his back and pretend like he was principled the whole time.
And when people say that you're sweeping or you're doing this, I've literally taken about 7 of my friends and former associates out back and put a bullet in the back of their head, so I really don't care. I've literally executed half this fucking space, so.
And one day Nick will do this to Ethan too. The public pressure will get to be too much, he'll find a new audience to leech from, and he'll drop H3 and pretend he had a good reason for it. And when that happens, Ethan will realize that he was actually right about Nick several years ago.
Yeah, this is what I mean.
Yeah.
You argue with people on the internet and you get charged up, and you gotta realize that you're probably talking to someone that looks like this. And what I mean by that is a pimply-faced kid who, you know, he's a know-nothing. Like, if I met this kid in real life, I would literally you wouldn't think twice about it.
Couldn't have said it better myself. But until then, Nick is gonna do what he always does. He'll take his earnings, and then he'll try to scurry away from the consequences of what he had to do to get them. Kind of like a rodent. A very, very large rodent.
Wesley, what about the ROUSs?
Rodents of unusual size? I don't think they exist.
Nicholas DeOrio gets the Rodent of Unusual Size Award.
Okay. Great stuff. Great stuff. Really awesome stuff. I think total rape on DeOrio, that segment. I don't see a way around that. Especially with the extra little bits that I've just added. I don't really see a way around that. And I invite anyone to try and figure a way around it.